Hey there, friends! Ever wondered if it's too late to learn a few moves that might just save your skin, or at least your dignity one day? Picture this. You're out for a walk, or maybe you're just minding your own business at the grocery store, and bam! Someone's getting a little too close for comfort. Now, you don't need to be Bruce Lee, or even Chuck Norris, to handle yourself. Today, we're diving into some of the best self-defense classes out there that are actually designed with us seniors in mind. These are the classes that let you build confidence, have a little fun, and maybe even surprise yourself with what you can do. Stick around, because I've got stories that'll make you laugh, some tips to keep you safe, and a few surprises that might just change the way you think about self-defense forever. Let's get into it. Number 1. Tai Chi, the gentle art with a kick, sort of. Picture this. You're in the park on a sunny morning, surrounded by a group of folks moving slowly, gracefully, like they're all wading through honey. At first glance, Tai Chi might look like a fancy dance class in slow motion. But trust me, there's a hidden strength in those gentle movements that most people miss. I met a retired school teacher named Marjorie who's been practicing Tai Chi for 8 years now. She told me that before Tai Chi, she felt like a stiff old oak. Every movement felt risky, like her balance might betray her. Now, she says she's more like a willow tree, rooted but able to bend and sway when the wind comes. Tai Chi, she says, taught her how to move with force instead of fighting it, and that's the secret sauce. See, Tai Chi was originally developed as a martial art. Every slow-motion push or sweep has a defensive application, a way to redirect an opponent's force or unbalance them. That's why Tai Chi can be such a powerful self-defense class for seniors. It's not about brute strength, but about understanding balance, leverage, and calm focus. If you're looking for a class, though, here's where the magic happens. You need an instructor who gets seniors. Ask them if they include the martial applications of Tai Chi, not just the forms. A good instructor will talk about rooting, keeping your balance, and yielding, redirecting force. They'll also know how to adapt movements for sore knees, stiff shoulders, or that creaky hip of yours. A sense of humor helps too. Marjorie's instructor used to joke, "If someone attacks you, just imagine you're a slow-moving ninja." That always got a laugh, and the lesson stuck. 2. Krav Maga, the no-nonsense choice. Now let's pivot to the total opposite of Tai Chi, Krav Maga. If Tai Chi is about flowing like water, Krav Maga is like water from a fire hose, straightforward, no frills, and built for the real world. I once met a 70-year-old former bus driver named Dave at a Krav Maga studio. He said he signed up after his granddaughter got mugged, and he wanted to feel like he could handle himself. He was nervous. He pictured himself in a sweaty gym with a bunch of 20-somethings doing push-ups till they dropped. But his instructor, a stocky guy named Frank, gave him a different picture. "Look," Frank said, "we're here to teach you how to get home safely, not to make you an action hero." That, my friend, is the heart of Krav Maga. It's all about learning simple, direct moves to defend yourself. No flashy kicks or fancy flips. Think palm strikes, knee smashes, and quick escapes from grabs. Dave loved that the class focused on everyday scenarios. What to do if someone grabs your wrist, how to defend against a push, how to shout, "Back off," like you mean it. No one was expected to hit the ground and wrestle. Frank was brilliant at modifying exercises. If Dave's knees hurt, he'd show him an alternative stance. He even said, "If you can't run, we'll teach you how to fight from where you stand." If you're looking for a Krav Maga class, find an instructor who actually understands seniors' needs. A good one won't expect you to do burpees till you collapse. Instead, they'll focus on your strengths, your voice, your awareness, your natural instincts, and build on that. Ask them how they adapt the training for different fitness levels and watch how they react. A smile and a nod means they get it. A confused look means they're picturing a Hollywood movie, not real-life self-defense. 3. Cane self-defense, from walkers to warriors. And here's my favorite underdog story. Cane self-defense. Picture your cane not as a crutch, but as a trusty sidekick, like a Jedi's lightsaber, but with a rubber tip. I met a feisty 68-year-old named Bernice at a local senior center. She'd recently picked up a new cane after hip surgery. One day, her instructor, an ex-military guy named Carlos, walked in with a smile and said, "Bernice, let's make that cane your secret weapon." And boy, did they! Carlos taught Bernice how to use her cane for striking, like a jab to the ribs or a poke to the knee. Simple, effective moves that don't require muscle, just technique. Bernice lit up as she told me how Carlos taught her to hook an attacker's foot with the curved handle, giving her time to back away. She said, "I might not be fast, but this cane makes me dangerous." And the way she said it, grinning ear to ear, I believed her. What makes cane self-defense so perfect for seniors is that it uses something you're already carrying. No one expects a cane-wielding senior to fight back, which is exactly what makes it so effective. Plus, learning to use it properly also builds confidence in everyday life, like getting in and out of chairs or balancing on uneven ground. When you're shopping around for a cane self-defense class, look for an instructor who sees the cane not just as a weapon, but as a tool for empowerment. They should know how to adjust moves for limited mobility, arthritic hands, or shoulder stiffness. And they should love teaching seniors. Carlos used to crack jokes during class. "Bernice, you're the deadliest grandma on the block." And that humor kept everyone coming back. 4. Boxing. But not the Rocky kind. Now, when I say boxing, I'm not talking about getting in the ring and going 12 rounds with Apollo Creed. Forget the image of Rocky running up the steps in Philadelphia while the trumpets blare. No, the kind of boxing I'm talking about for seniors is a totally different beast, one that's surprisingly friendly, adaptable, and dare I say fun. Take my buddy Walter, for instance. He's 71, retired mechanic, and a man who's always had a bit of a mischievous glint in his eye. One day, his daughter dragged him to a local boxing gym that offered boxing for seniors. Walter thought he was in for a world of hurt, but instead, he found himself in a class full of people his age, shadowboxing in slow motion, learning how to throw a jab and a cross without pulling a muscle. Here's the thing. Boxing is about building strength, coordination, and that spark of confidence you get from knowing you can throw a punch if you need to. Walter told me the best part wasn't even the punching. It was the footwork drills. Learning to shuffle your feet, pivot, and keep your balance made him feel more stable than any cane ever did. Plus, he said the coach, an ex-amateur fighter named Gloria, had a knack for cracking jokes and making everyone feel like a champ. She'd say, "You're not fighting Mike Tyson here. You're fighting the fear of falling." That line always stuck with him. And with me too. The key to a great boxing class for seniors is finding an instructor who understands that the goal isn't to turn you into a prize fighter, but to keep you moving safely, build your confidence, and show you that even at 71, you've still got a puncher's chance. Ask around. Does the coach warm up properly, focusing on mobility? Do they watch your form like a hawk to prevent injuries? And, this is important, do they smile? A sense of humor in boxing is worth its weight in gold. 5. Online self-defense classes. Safety from the couch. Now let's talk about the most modern twist in the self-defense world, learning right from your living room. That's right, online classes have become a huge hit with seniors, and for good reason. I once met a delightful lady named Ruth, a sprightly 75-year-old who lives in a small town with no martial arts studio in sight. Ruth told me she always felt a bit left out when people talked about local classes, until her grandson set her up with an online self-defense course. "I never thought I'd be learning to yell back off at a computer screen," she laughed. "But here I am, scaring the cat and feeling more confident." The beauty of online classes is that you can go at your own pace. Nobody's rushing you to keep up with the group. You can pause, rewind, and practice a move as many times as you like, without worrying about that one guy in the back who's already mastered the ninja roll. Some of the best courses even let you ask questions live, so you can get real-time feedback from an instructor. Ruth said her instructor, a calm, patient man named Tony, always reminded her, "It's not about how fast you move, it's about how well you understand." That's the kind of teacher you want. When you're choosing an online class, though, make sure it's not just a bunch of 20-somethings showing off flashy kicks. Look for a course that specifically mentions seniors or beginners, with options to modify moves for arthritis, joint pain, or balance issues. A great instructor will emphasize safety, awareness, and confidence, not just technique. And if they have a sense of humor, like Tony joking, "Remember, Ruth, your best weapon is your voice, and if that doesn't work, try the soup ladle," you'll be more likely to stick with it. 6. Self-defense workshops at community centers. Finally, let's talk about a hidden gem: self-defense workshops at community centers. Now, I know some people think community centers are just for bingo nights and bridge clubs, but let me tell you, some of the best, most practical self-defense training happens right there among the potlucks and knitting circles. Take my neighbor George. He's 73 and volunteers at the local community center. One day, he signed up for a self-defense workshop because, as he put it, "I'd rather know how to handle myself than rely on my cane to do all the talking." The workshop was run by a retired police officer named Linda, who taught everything from basic stance to how to use your voice effectively in a confrontation. George said Linda's approach was refreshingly down to earth. "She didn't make us do 100 push-ups," he chuckled. "She taught us how to avoid trouble in the first place." That's the beauty of these workshops. They're designed with seniors in mind. Linda spent half the time talking about real-life scenarios, how to stay aware in parking lots, what to do if someone follows you home, and even how to use a grocery cart as a barrier. George said the best part was the practice drills, where Linda would walk around and gently correct everyone's stance, making sure no one's knees were screaming in protest. If you're looking for a community center workshop, ask about the instructor's background. A good one, like Linda, will have real-world experience, maybe from law enforcement or a self-defense background, and they'll know how to teach people of all ages. Look for someone who makes the class fun, includes plenty of scenario-based training, and doesn't treat you like a fragile teacup. After all, we're here to learn how to protect ourselves, not to sit around sipping chamomile. 7. Women's self-defense classes, and why they're great for men too. I'll let you in on a little secret. Women's self-defense classes are some of the best-kept secrets in the martial arts world. And guess what? They're not just for women. I know, it sounds counterintuitive. But hear me out. Take my friend Doris, who's 70 and never considered herself the karate chopping type. One day, her daughter invited her to a local women's self-defense class at the YMCA. She expected a few basic moves and maybe some screaming practice, but she got so much more. The instructor, a sharp-witted woman named Sheila, focused on real-world situations. How to get out of a wrist grab, how to use your voice to create a scene, and even how to fight off an attacker if things went south. Now, here's the twist. Doris's husband, Bob, 72 and a retired high school principal, tagged along 1 week out of curiosity. He was a little skeptical, muttering something about pink pepper spray and yoga pants. But by the end of that class, Bob was hooked. Sheila's approach was all about practicality, leverage, surprise, and using your surroundings to your advantage, things that work for anyone, not just women. Bob told me, "Sheila taught me that self-defense isn't about overpowering someone, it's about outsmarting them." He said the classes were perfect for seniors because they focused on technique, not brute strength. Plus, the atmosphere was supportive and community-driven. When you're looking for a women's self-defense class, don't let the name scare you off. Look for an instructor who welcomes everyone, emphasizes real-world tactics, and encourages questions. Sheila always said, "If you're here to learn, you're in the right place." That's the kind of environment where seniors thrive, somewhere you feel respected and safe to ask, Can I try that move again without feeling judged? 8. Judo for seniors. Flip the script, literally. Now let's talk about judo. I know what you're thinking. Judo? For seniors? Isn't that the sport where people get thrown around like rag dolls? Well, yes, but hear me out. Judo, when taught right, is actually one of the most senior-friendly martial arts out there because it focuses on balance, leverage, and using an opponent's energy against them. Let me tell you about Hank, a 74-year-old who started judo after his grandson begged him to come watch a class. Hank had spent most of his life avoiding anything that might involve falling down. But that day, something clicked. The instructor, a gentle giant named Satoshi, showed him how to fall safely, how to roll without injury, and how to use simple techniques to avoid getting grabbed in the first place. Hank's favorite part. Satoshi taught me that falling isn't failing, it's learning. That mindset is gold for seniors who often fear that a fall means the end of independence. Judo flips the script, literally and figuratively, by teaching you how to manage your body in space. Hank said he felt more confident walking around town just knowing he could handle a stumble or even a grab from behind. The key to a great judo class for seniors is an instructor who focuses on fundamentals, safe falling, gentle throws, and a pace that respects everyone's limits. Satoshi always started class with warm-ups that felt more like Tai Chi than the Olympics. He'd say, "Our goal is to learn to fall so we can rise stronger." Now that's the kind of coach who makes judo not just doable, but downright empowering for seniors. 9. Verbal self-defense. Yes, that's a thing. I can almost see the look on your face. Verbal self-defense? Really? But let me tell you, sometimes the strongest muscle you can flex is your voice. My neighbor Betty, 82, and as sweet as pie, once told me about a time when a pushy guy at the supermarket tried to skip her in line. Now, Betty may be sweet, but she's got a spine of steel. She fixed him with a steely glare and said, "Sir, the line is back there, where your manners should be." The guy backed off like he'd seen a ghost. Betty didn't learn that from a YouTube video. She picked it up at a local library workshop on verbal self-defense, run by a retired psychologist named Carla. Carla taught that self-defense isn't always physical. Sometimes it's about setting boundaries, projecting confidence, and knowing how to say no like you mean it. These classes are gems for seniors because, let's face it, we're more likely to get harassed verbally than physically. Carla's workshops covered everything from de-escalating a situation to using your tone and posture to stand your ground. Betty said the best part was practicing scenarios, like a stranger asking for money or someone being too pushy at the door. It felt like rehearsal for life, she said. If you're looking for a verbal self-defense class, find an instructor who understands that seniors need practical, real-world strategies, not just theory. Someone who's patient, empathetic, and maybe a little bit sassy, like Carla. Because, let's be honest, sometimes the sharpest weapon we've got is a well-placed word. 10. Escape and evasion techniques. It's okay to run. Finally, let's talk about the class that might just save your hide one day. Escape and evasion. Now I know, nobody likes to think about running away, but sometimes the best self-defense is a good pair of legs. I'll never forget a story from Dave, a 76-year-old retired firefighter who took an escape and evasion workshop at his local rec center. He told me, the instructor said the goal wasn't to win the fight, it was to get home in one piece. That hit home for Dave because, as he put it, I'm no spring chicken. I'd rather run than risk a hip replacement. The class taught him simple but effective skills, how to break free from a wrist grab, how to use obstacles like a bench or a car to create distance, and most importantly, how to trust his gut. If you feel like something's off, the instructor said, it probably is. Dave learned that it's okay to avoid a fight altogether, call for help, find a safe space, or just make enough noise to draw attention. A great instructor in this field is someone who doesn't push you to be a hero, but teaches you to think on your feet, literally. Look for someone who blends physical drills with mental strategies, how to recognize danger zones, how to plan an exit, and how to keep your wits when the adrenaline's pumping. Humor helps too. Dave's instructor used to say, "You don't have to outrun the bear, just the slowest camper." It's a funny line with a serious truth. Sometimes getting away is the best self-defense there is. All right, my friend, we've covered a lot today. Everything from boxing that doesn't leave you black and blue, to judo that teaches you how to fall with style, to learning how to talk your way out of trouble with a wink and a smile. Self-defense for seniors isn't about winning medals. It's about feeling safe, confident, and a little more prepared for whatever life throws at you. Remember, the right instructor makes all the difference. Look for someone who gets where you're coming from, who respects your body's limits, and who makes learning fun. And hey, don't be afraid to try something new. You might just find a class that feels more like a family than a gym. If you found this video helpful, or maybe even a little bit entertaining, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and share it with someone who needs to know that self-defense isn't just for the young or the fearless. And hey, drop a comment below. Tell me what class you try first, or share your own story of how you stayed safe. I'm here to cheer you on every step of the way. Stay strong, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next one.